Coming up on Cronkite NewsWatch.
SB 1070 is making waves again. We'll have an update from our nation's capital.
Plus, find out how Arizona lawmakers are addressing criticism of the VA healthcare system.
And a Senate bill is making way through the House that could affect local alcohol distilleries around the state.
In-depth, insightful, innovative. Cronkite NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite NewsWatch. I'm Kimberly Hariza.
And I'm Clarissa Tapia. Thanks for joining us. It was about 2 years ago the Supreme Court ruled on Arizona's SB 1070, but today the argument continues.
Cronkite News reporter Jillian Idle joins us in Washington with the details. Jillian?
That's right. Another part of Arizona's SB 1070 makes it a crime to harbor or transport illegal immigrants. But lower courts blocked that law from taking effect, and today the Supreme Court refused to step in. Title 13 of Arizona's revised criminal code section 2929 states it is unlawful for a person who is in violation of a criminal offense to transport or move or attempt to transport or move an alien in the state, as well as harbor or hide such people from detection anywhere in the state. After several organizations filed suit saying the statute directly harms them, the district court granted a preliminary injunction blocking the law. The Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit affirmed the district court's ruling in October, so the state asked the Supreme Court to review that ruling. Today, the justices denied Arizona's appeal of this law. Governor Brewer's office responded by saying, Governor Brewer is disappointed with the Supreme Court's decision. Arizona's ability to combat criminal elements of illegal immigration in our own state is further eroded. The ruling is yet another blow to a state's responsibility and authority to enforce public safety and defend the well-being of its citizens. The fight is expected to continue in the lower courts for years to come. In Washington, Jillian Idle.
Arizona Attorney General Tom Horne's office did not have an immediate comment on the ruling.
Investigations into the Phoenix VA healthcare system are ramping up. Last Wednesday, we told you about an emotional protest by Arizona veterans who say they are neglected by the very institution created to care for them.
Arizona Senators John McCain and Jeff Flake met with VA officials on Friday to discuss those recent allegations.
Cronkite News reporter Cooper Rummel has the response.
Well, Senator McCain says the VA is denying all allegations that mismanagement led to 40 vets' death. Now McCain is calling for an external investigation by the Inspector General, but Arizona veterans say that's not enough. They want answers now.
Bring the troops home, stop the war making.
Protesters and veterans were left without answers.
How can we fix today and give the veterans their voice back? Because mine has been silent.
But it's the VA that's silent, according to Senator John McCain. And now he and Senator Jeff Flake say they want answers.
We will continue to stay on this situation until all the questions are resolved and a level of quality and efficient health care is provided to all of our veterans.
The situation, recent reports that up to 40 vets died due to mismanagement and neglect. The VA says the average wait time for a routine checkup is 55 days. VA hospital staff reportedly kept a secret list to conceal lengthy wait times from veterans.
They denied that the allegations concerning a secret list, they said that it did not exist. Yeah, I will accept their denial, but we need a thorough and complete investigation.
An investigation by the Inspector General.
These charges are serious. They have to be fully investigated, and our veterans community here has to be satisfied that the investigation has been thorough and that there's no whitewash.
Senator McCain says as a former Vietnam vet and POW, his office last year handled nearly 2,000 cases of veterans complaining about care. Live in downtown Phoenix, Cooper Rummel, Cronkite News.
Healthcare, education, and fuel prices have all climbed in 5 years, but the federal minimum wage has not. A group advocating higher wages is traveling to Phoenix as part of its cross-country protest. Hannah Lawrence has the story.
They call themselves Americans United for Change because the federal minimum wage has not changed since 2009.
It's about raising wages for hard-working people.
Protesters are taking their so-called anti-poverty rally to 20 states, where there's significant resistance to raising the minimum wage. But Azteca restaurant manager Erica Lopez says her family's business is already paying its employees more than $7.25 an hour, the federal minimum requirement.
We support raising the minimum wage because it all goes back to the economy.
Protesters want to boost the federal minimum wage to $10.10 an hour. The Center for American Change says increasing federal wages would increase total Arizona wages by nearly $680 million. Money that Lopez says will go right back into Arizona's economy.
Employees are spending that money as well, so it all goes, in the cycle.
And that cycle could benefit everybody. In Phoenix, Hannah Lawrence, Cronkite News.
Protesters are scheduled to arrive at the Capitol any minute now. Arizona's minimum wage is already 65 cents higher than the current federal minimum wage.
If you love whiskey, you might want to listen to this. Cronkite News reporter Juan Magaña joins us from downtown Phoenix to tell us how some lawmakers plan to limit how much alcohol is produced in our state.
That's right, Clarissa. Senate Bill 1397 is making its way through the House, and we talked to an Arizona distillery company, and they say this bill is unfair. Jason Grossmiller traveled around the country to learn how to make whiskey.
This is what I want to do. This is my calling.
He's one of the owners of Arizona Distilling Company. Now, Grossmiller wants to bring that century-old tradition to our state.
We've been pretty well received with a lot of at least the bartending community and people in the local community.
But that community might soon suffer. Right now, companies are able to produce an unlimited amount of alcohol. But Senate Bill 1397 would create a cap on the number of cases distilling companies could make. Grossmiller says this is a national problem.
Microdistilleries are trying to get parity with microbreweries and wineries, and trying to get the same privileges as far as tax privileges and either on-site sales or self-distribution.
This bill will allow distilleries to have one restaurant where they exclusively sell their products. Grossmiller says the law would cap production at 20,000 cases a year, and that's concerning to him.
If you go over that cap, you lose your privilege to have your satellite location and your restaurant. So you're going to have to shut down and fire all these people and leave people without jobs.
We came to the Capitol to talk to the sponsor, Senator John McComish, but he had no comment. Grossmiller says seeing this bill pass would be a tough shot to swallow, but he won't give up the fight.
The name of our company is Arizona. I would never want to do it anywhere else.
Now, if the bill passes and the governor signs it, it will go into effect July 1st, 2018. Live in downtown Phoenix, Juan Magaña, Cronkite News.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
26 runners crossed the finish line of the Boston Marathon in Phoenix, but they never even left the state. We'll tell you how that's possible coming up next.
Due to the overpopulation of animals in Arizona, the cost of adopting a pet is plunging dramatically. We'll explain why after the break.
The FBI is investigating how a 16-year-old claims to have hitched a ride from California to Hawaii in a plane's landing gear wheel well. Investigators have surveillance video of the boy hopping the fence at San Jose Airport, and crews noticed the 16-year-old wandering the tarmac in Maui, dazed and confused. The teen is lucky to be alive if he truly did ride in the cramped compartment for almost 5 hours. More than 32,000 people crossed the starting line Monday at the Boston Marathon in an act of defiance 1 year after the deadly bombing. As runners crossed the finish line more than 6 hours into the race, state officials reported no security threats. Some found it fitting as an American won the men's race for the first time in 31 years. 38-year-old U.S. citizen Meb Keflezgi, who came to this country from Eritrea as a boy, became the first American in 31 years to win the men's race. He was presented with the trophy and laurel wreath as the Star-Spangled Banner was played over Boylston Street, where the explosion rang out a year ago.
Here in the Valley, some 2,000 miles away from Boston, the spirit of the marathon lives on. Reporter Twelon Nugent joins us from the downtown Phoenix with the story. Twelon?
36,000 runners took to the streets of Boston today, and 26 Arizona residents also ran the Boston Marathon, but they didn't even leave the state of Arizona. This crowd is cheering on runners of the Boston Marathon, but they're right here in Phoenix, and so are the runners they're rooting for.
So we thought we would do something, to put everybody at the finish line, that couldn't be in Boston. So this is what we came up with. 26 Arizonans met up at Runner's Den in Phoenix to run the Boston Marathon together, relay style. Each athlete runs 1 mile before passing on the baton. Kelly Ruffalo ran the 11th mile of the race.
I feel great. I feel so alive.
Ruffalo ran on a treadmill alongside Boston runners who were on a television screen. After last year's tragedy at the Boston Marathon, Runner's Den painted a replica of the finish line on the side of its building. Today, it's more than just a mural on the wall.
The running community really bonded together last year after the bombing tragedy, and it's just kind of carried on. And so we decided we'd get together and continue to raise funds because we don't want this to be a forgotten cause.
The Phoenix running community is collecting donations for the One Fund, the charity that helps those injured in the bombings. And the willingness of the Phoenix running community to help is what inspired Ruffalo to run this year.
Show the support of the running community as a whole, especially what happened in Boston last year. This is just a really good way to show that we are united, we are Boston strong.
Boston Strong in Phoenix. More than Boston strong, more than Phoenix strong, it's a nation strong. An American won the Boston Marathon this morning, and that's the first time it's happened since 1983. Louis Vuitton will have more for you in sports coming up next. Live in downtown Phoenix, Twelon Nugent, Cronkite News.
Man's best friend needs more friends. Valley shelters are overflowing with pets. As Cronkite News reporter Cassie Clapp tells us, there's a new incentive to get those cute critters into new forever homes and help you save money at the same time.
You want to go inside, don't you?
Pam Burke calls herself the go-to girl in the hood, and that's how she ended up with little Selma.
I had a neighbor about 7 doors down that she fell last April and broke her leg in between her artificial hip and knee. We took the dog.
Ultimately, the neighbor just couldn't care for her.
In January, we became the official owners of the dog.
Similar stories don't have such a happy ending. Last year, Maricopa County Animal Care and Control took in nearly 41,000 animals.
Last month, 2,800 animals came into Animal Care and Control. Of those, 365 went back to their own families, 900 were adopted, and 900 went to other organizations.
And it happens every year. Springtime means an influx of puppies and kittens at shelters, so something had to be done.
Spring Fleeing is an adoption special that we created because what was happening was we were seeing so many animals coming into the shelter. We needed to do something to try and get them out.
The special allows people to adopt dogs for just $20, vaccines, neutering, and license included. While some may think it's careless to sell a dog for as little as $20, the county sees it differently.
Studies have shown that people that adopt an animal, whether they pay for it or not, value it just as much as those who do pay.
And Pam Burke cares very much about Selma, who didn't cost a penny. In Sun City, Cassie Clapp, Cronkite News.
The Spring Fling ends at the end of the month, and the county tells us the program has been a real lifesaver. Last year's euthanasia rate dropped by 30%.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
Winds are picking up and your allergies are under attack. Don't change the channel. Cronkite Weather's coming up next.
kiss me. That's my kind of man. You've been creating quite a stir.
Water is a hot topic in the Arizona desert, and lawmakers, past and present, are starting a year-long tour to spread the word about conservation. Reporter Mackenzie Scott in our Washington bureau has the story.
It's been over a year since former Senator Jon Kyl was in office, and he still can't let go of water.
Just don't know how much we're going to need in the future and where we're going to get it. I mean, God hasn't made any more water. Whatever we've got, we've got.
Before he left office, Kyl was close to securing a water rights deal with the Navajo and Hopi, but it fell through. Now he is back in the fight with Senator Jeff Flake, who announced he will be traveling to northern Arizona this month to start a year-long conversation on water.
There are some serious challenges if we don't get ahead of the problems, in effect. So in talking to Senator Flake about it, he decided that one way to approach the problem is to have this year-long conversation throughout the state of Arizona.
Flake said that taking over where Kyl left off is intimidating.
He has such a background that I don't have, but I'm a longtime Arizonan. I know the impact of these issues. We've got people already working on these issues that helped in what Senator Kyl was able to do. So we're going to draw on his work and hopefully take it to the next step.
A water shortage could happen as early as 2016, according to experts of the Central Arizona Project, which provides much of Arizona's water, which it draws from the Colorado River.
I think that was a wake-up call when we hear that you're going to have shortages in the CAP system by 2016, 2017. So we need to step up our efforts because it's coming more quickly than we thought.
Congresswoman Ann Kirkpatrick agrees. She says we've got no time.
Well, Arizona hasn't had a major water infrastructure project since the Central Arizona Project. And that was an effort that was led by our congressmen at the time, working across the aisle to get things done. I'd like to see that happen again in a major way so that we can secure Arizona's water for the next 100 years.
Although Kyl may have knowledge that will help current leaders tackle the issue of water, he knows that it's future lawmakers that will find the solutions.
Young leaders will be the answer to the future problems. I don't know the answers yet, but I know they'll figure it out if we can develop their leadership.
Reporting from Washington, Mackenzie Scott, Cronkite News.
Senator Flake says he hopes to start the conversation by looking into watershed issues in northern Arizona.
Well, it's the season of wind here in the valley as we make the transition from spring to summer. And that wind, well, it's carrying all sorts of pollens from plants just like these, and they're bringing them up right to your front door. Arizona was once that state you went to avoid the allergy season. Now, that's reversed. An early spring and a mild winter allowed for trees to bloom early. The trees in your yard may not be the reason your eyes are watering or your nose is running. Pollen can be carried dozens, even hundreds of miles right to your front door.
This used to be a place where people moved to avoid allergies. People brought with them not only the plants to plant here and cultivate the land, but they also brought with them their allergic genetics.
Trees to look out for are those olive trees, mulberry, and mesquite trees as winds start to pick up. We're already at 14 miles an hour, and that's going to increase to possibly up to 40 miles an hour coming in on Tuesday or Wednesday. So definitely take some precautions. It is allergy season, so be safe out there. Some action going around across the nation. This storm system coming in across the Midwest. What we're looking for and what we're hoping for is that this cold front right here is going to come right through and give us a bunch of cloud coverage, cool things down. We're hoping that it doesn't break up when it hits the shore. Maybe we'll get a little something later in the week. Temperatures around the nation, things are finally starting to look a little like spring around the East Coast, 55 in New York, and then the Midwest, 73 in St. Louis, summer around the southern states. Now looking at us, a little rain up north, but clear skies all day long. Lows tonight are going to be cool, mid to low 60s for Arizona, so keep an eye on that. 97 right now in the valley. Sunset tonight is going to be just around 7:02. Taking a look ahead at your 5-day, we're going to be low 90s all week long, and we're going to be cool in the 60s. So keep those shorts and t-shirts on. I'm Adam Waltz. There's your forecast. Cronkite weather.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
It's been an emotional day as the Boston Marathon went off for the first time since last year's tragic events. We'll hear from this year's male winner. And we'll take you to the beautiful beach of Santa Monica, where the ASU sand volleyball team took on the best of the Pac-12.
Kiss me. That's my kind of man. You've been creating quite a stir.
The winter you've been waiting for is on PBS.
You must choose either death or life.
All the drama.
There's going to be changes at Downton.
It's getting harder to say no.
The adventure.
The waves are breaking all around us.
And the spectacle of nature.
We're going to show how special these animals are.
Come in from the cold. Support the one place that can take you any place.
It's been a year since the bombings at last April's Boston Marathon that left 3 dead and 264 injured. As we all know, this is a city that's Boston strong, so it's no surprise this year's race would have a record 36,000 participants, and an American would reach Boylston Street first. Meb Klavelski captured the men's title with a time of 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 37 seconds, becoming the first male American to win since 1983. The San Diego native adds this remarkable feat to an already impressive resume, which includes a New York City Marathon crown and a silver medal at the 2004 Olympic Games. Klavelski was a spectator at last year's race, but felt compelled to run this year.
But, you know, this is beyond running. This is for the people, for the Boston Strong, and we're resilient as the runners. We want to give it back. We want to change what happened last year, and last year was known to be the bomb explosion Boylston, but this year an American winning it and giving the USSA cheer just beyond words.
And on to the women's side, Kenyan Rita Jeptu wins the race for the second straight year and a third of her career with a course record time of 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 57 seconds. And closer to home, former Sun Devil track star Desiree Davila Linden finished the race in 10th place. Now, the marathon is always run on Patriots Day, but that also means the Red Sox hosted their annual Patriots Day morning game. The Red Sox have embraced Boston's strong mantra more than any other sports team in Beantown, and they try to rally once again today against the Orioles, but at first it would be tough. Hosting the O's went to work on Clay Buchholz, already up 5-0. Jonathan Scope with a long single off the Green Monster. O's take a big 6-0 lead. The Sox, though, would show that Bostonian resilience. Bottom of the 8th, Mike Napoli. Nice beard, nice swing. Goodbye. Solo shot makes it 7-5, but the Sox would tack on a run in the 9th, but would not be enough as Tommy Hunter shuts the door on the late comeback, and the O's get the win 7-6. Now, the Sox might have lost, but of course today, the city of Boston definitely won. And it's playoff time in the NHL and the NBA. Unfortunately, no Yotes and no Suns, and the D-backs, well, they're not looking like they're playing any postseason ball come October. The Diamondbacks sitting in last place in the NL West. Serenity now. Arizona taking on LA. Pick it up. No score in the second. Miguel Montero laces a shot down the right field line. Montero feeling lucky, stretching for second, but Yasiel Puig guns him down at second. What a cannon. Somebody didn't read their scouting report. Now to the 6th. LA up 1-0. Puig, if hitting home runs is cool, consider him Miles Davis, a bomb to left. That's all the scoring the Dodgers would need. The Diamondbacks fall 4-1 and have dropped 7 of 8 games they've played against LA this season. The sports scene not looking good in the Valley. And the ASU Sand Volleyball team was out in SoCal participating in the Pac-12 Sand Volleyball Invitational in Santa Monica this past weekend. Cronkite sports reporter Nick Merrick had the unfortunate assignment of going out to SoCal and covering the event.
ASU is new to the sand volleyball scene, and because of that, a lot of the players have had success indoor first. But for Jordy Checkle, she found her success in the sand.
The reason? Jordy Checo grew up on the beach.
My typical day, I would surf with my dad and I'd go play, and there's pickup games everywhere on the sand. Around here, all up Huntington Beach, but I think this is my home.
And she also feels at home with her doubles partner, Mackenzie Willie.
Chemistry is honestly, it's key. I mean, it's you and her, and if you're not getting along, you're screwed.
They don't have to worry about that though. Jordy's mom says they play together like sisters.
It's really a special bond these two have. Being able to watch Jordy play and Kizzy out on the sand is just the most amazing feeling.
And the feeling is mutual.
You have to talk all over the court, and when it's 2-on-2, I just feel like I got that whole back court. She's up there, and I'm confident in her.
And the Sun Devils are confident in their rising star. In Santa Monica, Nick Merrick, Cronkite Sports.
That's it for Cronkite NewsWatch tonight.
Thanks for joining us. Good night.